Good evening, VV Nation. My name is Ryan and welcome to the channel. Now, do we remember this movie? The quote was, "The most valuable commodity I know of is information." That was said by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Gordon Gekko. Now, that being said, that leads me to tonight's video. One of the most important segments of the economy right now and one of the hottest industries to be investing in is semiconductors. And I'm not surprised by this because I do feel that information is the most important commodity out there, especially when it comes to trading, but also other industries, other segments of the economy. Actually, the entire economy relies on information now, especially in today's era. With the rise of AI, the rise of the speed of transactions, semiconductors is at the forefront, and semiconductors are the reason for all of this innovation that we see in today's society. Now, that being said, in today's presentation, I am going to present to you two of my favorite semiconductor companies, which are Broadcom and AMD. Now, we all know that NVIDIA is the king of the space right now. However, the other companies are fighting for second place. So tonight's presentation, I am going to go over these two companies. I got a few articles I'm going to skim through real quick. However, I'm going to spend most of my time looking at charts and going into the VectorVest 7 software to see what the system is trying to tell us and see which one might be a potential better investment. Now, the timing of this video couldn't be better. We got Broadcom's earnings coming out later this week. So we're going to take a look at Broadcom in particular and see if it will be earnings, see if it will be forecast, and see what potentially the stock will respond and how investors will respond to the earnings call. Now, if this is something that you're interested in, stick around and let's get started. Now, I've already done a lot of videos when it comes to Broadcom, AMD, and the semiconductor space in general. Just go to YouTube, type in VectorVest, and those subjects, those videos will appear right at the top of the list. So that way you can see some of the insight that I just won't cover in tonight's video. Now, before we get any further, let me know if you're team AMD or team Broadcom. Now, when it comes to Broadcom, I will say the biggest thing I like about them is that they don't have all of their eggs in one basket. So as of 2023, about 80% of the company's revenue actually did come from semiconductor-based products, while the remaining 20% did come from its infrastructure related to software products and services. Now, AMD does have a miraculous story as it has always been the underdog. Now, that being said, they do have their roots mainly just in, PC computer chips, gamer computer chips, things of that nature. However, their semiconductor chips have gotten very popular and very powerful, making their space into servers and AI technology. You can see here, they're taking a lot of market share from Intel, which has really put them on the map here. Their server CPU market since 2017 has increased to 23% unit share as of Q3. Now, that's up 18% quarter over quarter from the prior year. So phenomenal growth when it comes to AMD. Now, real quick, we're going to utilize the VectorVest software, see how these stocks match up before we go into their charts. We could see here AMD and Broadcom. If we compare price to value here, AMD is about double what we value the company to be, while Broadcom is trading at a premium right now at about 30% over valuation. Now, if we compare that to the industry, semiconductor manufacturing, we do see price compared to value is about 50% higher. So, this space in general is trading at a premium right now. And we all know why. It's because of the AI hype. Now, that being said, fundamentally, both companies very sound here. However, Broadcom does take the lead when it comes to long-term price appreciation potential at 1.3. Now, when it comes to safety, which is just the consistency of the company's financials here, AMD takes the lead, however, ever so slightly. So fundamentally, they're both very sound, very close when it comes to their ratings here. Now, at a technical standpoint, looking at their price trend or RT relative timing here, AMD does have more momentum behind its price trend right now at 1.67. Now, our master indicator, overall value, safety, and timing does put AMD in the lead ever so slightly at 1.49 compared to Broadcom's 1.4 respectively. Now, both of these stocks do have a buy rating. Now, if we take a look at its GRT or growth rate and earnings here, AMD does have the lead, even on the sales growth rate. 10% here, 21% for the growth rate. Now, if we compare that to Broadcom, coming up short at 18%, while the sales growth rate is less than half of that of AMD's. Now, if we take a look at the industry, we do see that the RV and RS here, the fundamentals pretty weak overall. So if you are going to get into the semiconductor space, these are two great stocks to have exposure to. Now, on top of that, if we take a look at its forecasted data here, the growth rate in earnings only comes in at 3%. If we take a look at the sales growth rate, a whopping 41%. So this space as a whole is expected to grow astronomically going forward. As most of you know, you've probably done some research on AI and the growth of AI as a whole here, especially server, cloud chips, cybersecurity, all positive when it comes to growth aspects here. That's why these companies are trading at a premium right now. Now let's go ahead and jump in the charts and see what they're trying to tell us. All right, so before we get into the technicals of price action itself, we're going to take a look at forecasted data. First up is AMD. Now this being said here, we've got forecasted earnings per share, forecasted growth rate in earnings, and sales forecasted data. So that being said, AMD, you see it over here, over the last 6 months, all three of these actually on the rise here. Growth rate and sales growth rate here. What I do like about the sales growth rate, AMD was lagging. It was actually negative there for a little bit about 6 months ago, now in positive territory, ending at 10%. So AMD is coming out of the rut when it comes to their forecasted data. So let's take a look at Broadcom itself. Now here we've got Broadcom here, earnings per share, nice steady rise in earnings per share. However, starting to level out over the last 3 months here. But my biggest concern going into earnings right now, look at the growth rate in earnings and the sales growth rate. They are both on the decline over the last 6 months, giving me some concerns about their upcoming earnings call. So let's take a look at Earnings Whisper and just see what the consensus on the street is right now. So last quarter, the earnings actually came in at $11.05, same as the Whisper here. Now, if we take a look at the reported revenue, it did beat ever so slightly. It was at $9.29 billion. Now, if we can compare that to this week, we can see the Earnings Whisper came in at $10.05, while the consensus is at $9.40. So you can see the earnings per share is a little lower. However, as long as we can beat the consensus, I do see optimism here. But look at the revenue. The revenue estimate right now is at $11.71 billion. I mean, that's almost 20% growth in just 1 quarter. So definitely something to keep focus on. I think if they can hit that objective here and maybe even surpass that estimate, investors will flock to this position, causing the price action to soar. Now, there's a lot of analysts out there that are already projecting higher growth. You can see their price targets changing here. Here's from $9.95 to $10.15, from $1,250 to $1,450, and here's another one, $1,500 up from $1,100 here. So you can see a lot of analysts are expecting big things from Broadcom going forward. Now let's take a look at these stocks and see what they're doing currently. You can see the breakout from AMD here. What I like is the volume was dropping while the stock was consolidating in this channel here, but look at this breakout to the upside. We've got 3 days with strong volume showing the conviction to the upside here. The 3 is above the 8-day moving average, confirming this upside momentum. Now, the only thing I am concerned here is we got a shooting star candlestick pattern here with some follow through today. You can see the candlestick is open. So investors are trying to prevent some follow through here. So just keep your eye on it. I wouldn't say jump into this position quite yet if you're not already in it. However, look at it in the following days and see what the stock is doing. Let the trade come to you. Don't rush to trade. But right now with that shooting star and a down day today, not too optimistic on entering this position quite at this time. Now, Broadcom, very similar pattern here. You can see some consolidation, tight trading channel here. For price action did break out of this level of resistance here, now becoming a level of support at $12.90. We see some strong volume on that breakout here with a nice retest. But look, 3 is above the 8-day exponential moving average. We've got more volume showing this conviction to the upside above this level of resistance here. Now, my only concern right now is yesterday's candlestick showing some indecision. So the current resistance level does sit at the high right now at 1438. And if I zoom out to a 3-month time span here, I do have some additional levels of support if we do see some big swings in the stock around $1,200 and again that $12.90 level. Now, I'm going to say I'm pretty optimistic when it comes to Broadcom's earnings, and I would not be surprised if we get a breakout to the upside. I could see a potential 10% swing here to the upside, giving Broadcom a new high. All right, VV Nation. Now, you heard what I had to say when it comes to Broadcom and AMD. Let me know what team you're on, AMD or Broadcom. Me personally, I feel that they're both great companies, but if you've been watching this channel a while, AMD is my favorite company, as that's where I learned how to day trade options. And honestly, I've got probably 2,000 day trades on AMD, so I just know how it behaves, and therefore it is my favorite company. And Lisa Su, she's a great CEO, so I do see her bringing this company even further into the future. Now, when it comes to Broadcom and their earnings, I wouldn't be surprised if investors got hyped up when it comes to that revenue. As long as they were able to at least meet that estimate or even beat that estimate, I do see a 10% swing to the upside. Now, if you enjoyed this presentation, make sure that you subscribe to the channel as well. Don't be greedy here. Share this information with your friends and family so that way you can help them make money as well. So share that on your social circles. And again, my name is Ryan. It's been a pleasure giving you tonight's presentation. Have a good night.
Hey VV Nation, you know that we can analyze any stock in a matter of seconds. Do you want to analyze any of your stocks for free? You want VectorVest to tell you what you really need to know about that stock? Well, you can. If you go to www.vectorvest.com/YTFSA, you can get a free stock analysis on any stock that you're currently holding or are possibly looking at. Folks, what do you have to lose? Do that now and analyze any of your stocks in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.